Hi. Okay, I had the question, what is going on with a hydrangea when it's not blooming? So I thought we would kind of go through a couple of ideas that you might need to be checking just to help kind of troubleshoot what's going on your hydrangeas. Now, first things first, let's talk about the weather, because this past winter when we headed into spring, my planting date is normally Mother's Day weekend, so the second weekend of May. But we had really unfortunately cold weather all the way up and through, I think, the third or almost into the fourth week. So my garden did not get planted until literally almost the fourth week of May. With that being said, freeze damage could be your first issue as to why your hydrangeas didn't bloom. You would have been able to tell if it had freeze damage with the blooms at the edges of those. Were they kind of shriveled up and looking bad? Were they kind of brown looking after a couple of days after the freeze? To help with that, if you get another freeze, if it's a very light freeze and you didn't cover your plants, just take a water hose and get that frost off those leaves before, say, 10 o'clock in the morning. So freeze damage could be your first issue as to why hydrangeas did not bloom. Second would be water. Did they get adequate water? Did they get too much water? What kind of soil do you have? If you have clay soil, did you do any amendments? If you didn't, did they sit in water if you had a wet spring? We had a wet spring, but we also had a cold spring. So it was really weird. I mean, we didn't get up over 50 probably into May. You know, a couple of days we had a couple nice ones, but not as bad as what I wanted. Third would be location. So did you plant them? Are they getting enough sun but shade? They don't necessarily need a lot of sun, but are you giving them too much? Depending on, some of the older ones can, and a lot of hydrangeas can take sun, but did you plant it in the wrong location? Is it getting too much shade? There's just so many different things. You need to look at the tag. You got to read that tag. And if it's an heirloom, then you got to go online, and there are plenty of apps now that will help you. If you have a nice healthy picture of your hydrangea, you can actually snap it on different apps and it'll tell you what kind of plant it is. You could also go to your local county extension. We'll have a master gardener program. You can also reach out to a master gardener with pictures from your plant or from when your mother had it and say, hey, what kind of hydrangea is this? Some of them come back on new wood, some of them come back on old wood, and this isn't going to be that conversation, but location is sometimes a big issue as to why possibly your hydrangea never bloomed. Or if it did it only bloom a little and it didn't continue to keep blooming? So the ever bloomers do tend to bloom more. The older heirloom, not so much. And it just depends. Did it come back on old wood? Did you accidentally cut it back too far? Because new blooms on an heirloom needed the old growth from last year. So if you cut it back and didn't get any blooms, maybe you have an heirloom and it needed, because like a lot of mine are what we call the new generation, and they come back from new growth every year. So what I will have to do is I'll make sure that I mulch the heck out of them after growing season is ended and it gets cold and the plant goes dormant. I am going to mulch the heck out of it. And in the spring, if needed, you may need to cover those up. So location could be your other issue. Now, normal yards have a lot of nitrogen, but in a hydrangea, they need phosphorus and nitrogen, but they need more phosphorus. Now, there are a couple of different things that you could do to help with that. And I have two of them right here with me. And it's not a sponsored video, guys. This is just something that I like to use. So this product, here, let me turn it around. This product is, as you can tell, for rhododendrons, camellias, and azaleas, but it's also for hydrangeas, which is pictured right there. And So giving it a product like this will help because it has a phosphorus product in it. Now, the other idea, and a lot of you, if you plant bulbs in the fall, you will have this product handy. And this is a very quick fix, especially in the spring, when you start to see those blooms and they look like they're going wonderful. Give them a shot of bone meal. High in phosphorus. If you have pets or small children, you can rake back the mulch, place it, just sprinkle it around the plant. You could probably read the directions on the back, which I would suggest if you're new, and then kind of go from there. So not a sponsored video, but any type of bone meal would work. And that is 2 of your options for helping your hydrangeas and azaleas and rhododendrons stay healthy, because they do need a different diet than a lot of the other plants that maybe you have in your yard. That could be a definite plus for you to help your hydrangeas start to bloom. So definitely try, if you've got blooms and they just, something's happening and it's like some of them are blooming but not all of them, you probably need more phosphorus. You can go to your local extension office and you can either give them a soil sample. They usually send it away. Sometimes they give you the bag and explain to you how to do a soil sample. I would suggest, if you're really struggling hard, you know you have it in the right location, you know it's getting enough water, you know what type of soil you have, and if one of those things in that whole recipe isn't working, I would suggest having a soil sample done. They usually want a sample from 5 different locations. If you're doing a soil sample and say this is for your azaleas, I want you to do that soil sample for the whole bedding area of, say you have hydrangeas in 3 different locations in your yard. I want those 5 or 6 samples coming from just the azalea or just the hydrangea areas, because it's not going to help you to go to 5 sections of your normal yard. If we're talking about a flower bed, you want to take those 5 samples from a flower bed. And so your extension officer will tell you, give me 5 or 6 soil samples from different locations in your yard. But if you're gardening and we're talking landscaping, okay, for today, because hydrangeas are normally in a landscape, I want you to make sure that those samples are coming out of your landscape, okay? Very important. Now, we can do a yard one later, but if you're having trouble with your yard, you can certainly do 2 different samples. While you're at dropping one off, just go ahead, take a soil sample from different locations out of your yard and kind of go from there. So, sorry, the lighting is really harsh today, but I got the dormers, which I can't cover, and I'm running my robot vacuum, and I'm hiding from the husky. So we'll take what we can get. So there are ideas for you. If your hydrangea's just not blooming, I want you to go there, try those ideas, and see if this will help. I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and share. Help me grow my channel. And thank you. I have over 200 followers, which is amazing. And I know someone watching this that might have 30,000 people will go, oh, that's no big deal, but it really is. I want to thank each of you. So, hey, have a great day, guys, and I'll talk soon. Bye.